Welcome back. Summer here amongst the Orioles sell-off and everyone getting ready for Ravens season. And, I know about a local event here. It's the first time I think we've ever promoted this event as part of our community and charity series. And if any of you have a community or an event or a 5K or a crab feast or anything out there that touches the community space, I want to tell your story. You can throw me a note, nasty@WNST.net. It's all brought to you by our friends at Cole Roofing. And today it is Sean Hull and Flip Flop Festivus, which I have been invited to many times. Some weekends it sort of falls on a weird weekend where the Ravens are away and I can't get there or whatnot. Sean Hull is not only a director of wealth management over at PNC, he is also the president of all things here, Life and Breath Foundation, which sort of breathes the life and breath into the Flip Flop Festivus, now celebrating 10 years. Sean, good day to you, and I know there's more to this than dressing like Jimmy Buffett and coming out and drinking and eating and boozing and having a good time. I know you've been doing that for 10 years, but really this is about sarcoidosis, which I don't know a lot about, but I feel like I'm about to learn about. Good day to you, Sean.
Nestor, thanks for having me on. I greatly appreciate it, and we're really looking forward to the Festivus this year. It's September 21st, and we appreciate you bringing us on to talk a little bit more about the Life and Breath Foundation.
Well, I've friends that live in my building that have put up little postcards for Flip Flop Festivus, in my elevator portal. So I've read about it. I know about it. I know McCrary had something to do with it, sort of in the early going, and I think Ed Mulatalo as well and his Festivus. And I had Ed on 2 weeks ago talking about Ray Lewis. So I guess behind the Flip Flop Festivus in 10 years is, I think of it as something that had something to do with the Ravens in the beginning. And I'll let you pick it up from there because I know it has been something that's been very near and dear to your heart. It is coming up on September the 21st. It's at the Four Seasons. They're going to class the joint up down there. And I want to give you an opportunity to tell me all about it because I know of it, but I don't know about it. You know what I mean?
Sure. So I'll start. My mother had the disease sarcoidosis, and she suffered with it for 13 years, unbeknownst to the family, and passed away at age 59.
Wow.
And so what I did is I went over to Johns Hopkins and some of the other facilities here in the Baltimore area to find out a little bit more about the disease, and just understood that it was really misdiagnosed and really had a big question mark centered around it. So I figured I wanted to do something in her memory and created the Life and Breath Foundation. So sarcoidosis is a disease that affects different organs throughout your body, and basically what it does is causes lesions to form in different organs. And for my mom, she had it in her lungs and took away the capacity for her to breathe. So common targets are the lungs, lymph nodes. It's a chronic disease that affects the brain, eyes, kidneys, liver, and several other systems. So the first 10 years of the foundation, I hosted a golf tournament up at Hayfields Country Club, and we were very successful during that time, and we got many of the Baltimore greats out there, from Brooks Robinson to Paul Blair and to some of the Ravens, to come out and support us. And then in the downturn of 2008, financial downturn of 2008, I had to create another event because it was a challenging time for different corporate sponsors to put money into a golf tournament. So looking for another event, as you mentioned, Jack and Suzanne were able to help me create more of a fun, festive event. More people can get to it, and we just wanted to see how we could put a smile on individuals' face. And we just thought, well, when you go away to Jamaica or the Bahamas, you're happy, you got your Tommy Bahama shirt on, your shorts, sandals, and cigar, and you're ready to go. So
it's funny you'd say that because my wife and I got married 15 years ago, and our whole theme was, whatever you would wear to a Jimmy Buffett concert. So there were a lot of sandals and a lot of flowered prints shirts. My aunt, who passed away last year, had a coconut top on. So I anything that works at a Buffett concert, I think would work at Flip Flop Festivus as well. Correct? It's sort of all-encompassing island theme, right?
Exactly. So we know we wanted it to be festive, flip-flops, casual, and we just got into the Flip Flop Festivus, and then one of my committee members said, well, wait a minute, I think Festivus is synonymous with the Ravens winning the Super Bowl back in 2000, and then they told the Brian Billick story where I guess he didn't allow them to say playoffs, in December to the media.
That is correct. All of the above has been chronicled.
Right? So Ed Mulatalo, I guess, came up with the thought of Festivus, and so we just jumped on that, and we said, well, why not allow Flip Flop Festivus to be the kickoff to the NFL season? And we brought in a lot of my friends from the Ravens, and they were able to really give great support, and the fans in the area really jumped on it and supported us. So as you mentioned, this is our 10th year celebrating the Festivus and everything, and we're just happy to be able to do it again.
Sean Hull is our guest. He is the president of All Things Life and Breath Foundation. You can learn all about this at lifeandbreath.org. You can just Google Flip Flop Festivus. It pops up all the time, has a lovely flower and sandal theme. It's coming up on September the 21st. It's down at the Four Seasons. Other than just this and you shedding light on this disease that your mother struggled from, I know about this event. This event comes and goes. What else do you do during the course of the year at lifeandbreath.org that people can be involved in if they can't make it at the Flip Flop Festivus?
Well, thank you for that question. So the purpose of the foundation and what we use the resources for, we're trying to build a collaboration with some of the area hospitals here in the area that treat the patients. The patients really have a hard time getting the proper diagnosis, getting on the proper track to be able to combat their disease. So one of the partners that we've been working with is GBMC, which has a patient-centered home health care model whereby the primary care physician is the quarterback and really will help the patient understand, manage, coordinate, and inspect their care. So a lot of times the patients, they're not familiar with the terms. Sometimes they have to coordinate specialists and coordinate their care, and you have.
Well, the
to be your own
caregiving
advocate.
part of it is extraordinary. As someone who's been a caregiver to a 2-time leukemia patient, my wife got better. You know what I mean? I have many friends, who live with spouses who don't get better, and we ran into Chandra and OJ out in Canton a couple weeks ago, and it just every time they go away, as they're walking away, my wife and I look at each other and say, oh my God, oh my God, like the amount of care that goes into anyone who's ailing. It's one of the reasons that this segment was created, because it does take more than just a doctor and insurance and a patient. There's so much more that goes on.
Well, and that's a great point, because through talking to patients and everything, there's another area that you have to be aware of. That's the patient and the family members that support that, and that's that mental and physical well-being, because sometimes it's a drain. It's a drain on those that support you and everything, and how best to support them with that, because the patient himself goes through this whole aspect of, I don't feel right. I got the shortness of breath, pain in my joints, and I just don't feel well, but, on the outside they look fine. And then they're coming into contact with physicians that aren't familiar with the disease also, and then the delay happens.
Well, misdiagnosis is probably the biggest issue, because I've read the symptoms. This sounds like Lyme disease. It sounds like a bunch of symptoms that you could think you have anything, and until it's diagnosed the right way, and I guess that was the root of everything involving your mother and probably many patients who suffer from this, right?
It really is. You hit it on the nail. A lot of patients feel like they're by themselves, and no one is aware of it, so they don't tell anybody, so they think they're by themselves. A lot of focus for the foundation is really to be the foundation to put the flag in the ground and hoist it as high as possible so people can see us, and then our ability to be the gateway or the connector to the proper and appropriate physician or specialist to be able to help and treat them.
Sean Hull is my guest. He's the president and doing all things good out there with Flip Flop Festivus and the Life and Breath Foundation. You can learn more at lifeandbreath.org. All of our WNST community and charity pieces, and this is one of them, brought to you by our friends at Cole Roofing. And Bill Cole and I got together and decided we need to shed some light on more of these stories. If anyone out there has a story in the community that you want to tell, that's event-driven, that's community-driven and charity, charity-driven, whether it's a GoFundMe, whether it's a local story of inspiration and perspiration. We're here for you, Nasty at WNST.net. You can also find me out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and anywhere that our friends Cole Roofing support us as well. And you always hear their commercials. You hear Bill Cole come on, talk some sports with us. This is our defining feature each and every Thursday morning where we tell good stories about good things going on out in the community. So salute to Cole Roofing and to everyone out there trying to make a difference. Sean Hull's doing that right now at Life and Breath Foundation. The Flip Flop Festivus is on the 21st. Give me the lowdown on Flip Flop Festivus and where we are now, because I hadn't heard about it in a couple of years. I'm glad to hear that you're now 10 years into this. We're 20 years in at NST, and I know this thing's moved around a little bit. When this thing began, I don't know, the Four Seasons was there 10 years ago. Now you have a really premier location. This is a really nice night out, right?
It really is. We started at Tabrizi's and moved over to Silo Point, and then found a home at the Four Seasons right there in the Inner Harbor. But we're going to be on the 21st of September hosting the event. It's going to start at 6:30. We're going to be in the Cobalt Ballroom, which is going to have all harbor views. DJ Smokey Lansdowne from the Starboard is going to be providing the entertainment that night. And so you can look forward to some sumptuous cuisines, cocktails, along with casino games, raffle games, and exciting live auction sports and travel packages. So we hope to raise a lot of money to be able to help the patients affected with sarcoidosis, but it is a really nice night out. We've had past celebrities to be able to join us, including Kadri Ishmael, Brad Jackson, George Mirasan, Harvey Grant, Walt Williams, and Johnny Holiday. So we hope to see many of our Ravens supporters also. I've been in contact with some of them. They're checking their schedules, and we hope to have a fun event.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do everything we can do to support you guys out at lifeandbreath.org. Sean Hall is here. His day job's with PNC Bank, but certainly his night job is shedding light on sarcoidosis. I'm learning how to pronounce it, if not spell it. You can learn more at lifeandbreath.org about everything that Flip Flop Festivus has going on September the 21st. And the Ravens are home against the Broncos that weekend, so it's the Friday night of Ravens weekend. Good luck with everything, Sean. Great to shed some light on this. Stay in touch. We'll hope to hear from you. I know the 10th will lead to the 11th, I'm hoping, right?
Yes, it will, and we really appreciate your support and what your sponsors are doing, and God bless.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sean Hall joining us here. Lifeandbreath.org and the Flip Flop Festivus coming up in September. You can learn more out in the Buy a Toyota.com audio vault, where we keep all of our charity and community pieces, brought to you by Cole Roofing as well. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. If you need your charity involved in our Thursday charity and community series, toss me a note. We'd love to have you involved. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST, Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.